Hi, all my friends. I'm sorry I'm late this morning, but just the way the morning's been going. I'm just going to jump right in here into Swedenborg, and then I got to skedaddle. So I hope that you have a great Tuesday. And again, thank you to all my new subscribers and comments, and always well appreciated, of course, by me. And I love getting to know you guys better. All right, so divine love and wisdom cannot fail to be and to be manifested in others that it has created. Okay, the hallmark of love is not loving ourselves, but loving others and being united to them through love. The hallmark of love is also being loved by others, because this is how we are united. Truly, the essence of all love is to be found in union, in the life of love that we call joy, delight, pleasure, sweetness, blessedness, contentment, happiness. The essence of love is what is ours essence of love is that what is ours should belong to someone else. Feeling the joy of someone else as joy within ourselves, that is loving. Okay, let me read that again. The essence of love is that what is ours should belong to someone else. Feeling the joy of someone else as joy within ourselves, that is loving. Feeling our love in others, though, and not theirs in ourselves, is not loving. That is loving ourselves, while the former is loving our neighbor. These two kinds of love are exact opposites. True, they both unite us, and it does not seem as though loving what belongs to us or loving ourselves in others is diverse or divisive. Yet it is so divisive that to the extent that we love others in this way, we later harbor hatred for them. Step by step, our union with them dissolves, and the love becomes hatred of corresponding intensity. Can anyone fail to see this who looks into the essential nature of love? What is loving ourselves alone, really? Not loving someone else who loves us in return? This is more fragmentation than union. Love's union depends on mutuality, and there is no mutuality within ourself alone. If we think there is, it is because we are imagining some mutuality in others. We can see from this that the divine love cannot fail to be and to be manifest in others whom it loves and who loves it. If this is the characteristic of all love, it must be supremely characteristic, infinitely characteristic of love itself. In regards to God, loving and being loved in return are not possible in the case of others who have some shared of affinity or anything of the essence and life of intrinsic love or of divinity. If there were within them any shared of infinity or anything of the essence and life of intrinsic love of divinity, that is, it would not be others who would be loving God. He would be loving himself. What is infinite or divine is unique. If it were in others, it would still be itself. It would be pure love for itself, for which there cannot be the slightest trace of God. It is absolutely opposite to the divine essence. For love to be mutual, then it needs to be a love for others in whom there is nothing of intrinsic divinity. And we will see below that it is love for others who were created by divinity. For this to happen, though, there must be infinite wisdom, that it is at one with infinite love. That is, there must be divine love of divine wisdom and divine wisdom of divine love discussed above. On our grasping and knowing, the mystery depends upon grasping and knowing God's manifestation of creation of everything and God's maintenance or preservation of everything that is. All the acts of God in the created universe that I will be talking about in the following pages. Please, though, do not muddle your concepts with time and space. To the extent that there is time and space in your concepts as you read what follows, you will not understand it, because divinity is not in time and space. Okay? This will become clear in the sequel to the present book, especially on eternity, infinity, and omnipresence. Everything in the universe was created by divine love and wisdom of divine human one. The universe, from beginning to the end, from the first to the last, is so full of divine love and wisdom that you would call it divine love and wisdom in an image. This is clearly evidenced by the way everything in the universe answers to something in us. Every single thing that comes to light in the created universe has such an equivalence with every single thing in us that you would call us a kind of universe as well. There is a correspondence of our affected side in its consequent thought with everything in the animal kingdom, a correspondence of our volitional side in its consequent discernment with everything in the planet kingdom, and correspondence of our outermost life with everything in the mineral kingdom. This kind of correspondence is not apparent to anyone in our physical world, but it is apparent to observant people in the spiritual world. We find in the latter world all things that occur in the three kingdoms of our physical world, and they reflect the thoughts of people who are there. The feelings that come from their volition, the thoughts that come from their discernment, as well as the outermost aspect of their life. Both their feelings and their thoughts are visible around them, looking much like the things we see in the created universe, though we see them in less perfect representation. From this, it's obvious to the angels that the created universe is an image depicting the divine human one, that it is his love and wisdom that are presented in image in the universe. It is not the created universe. Is it not that the created universe is the divine human one? Rather, it comes from him. For nothing whatever in the universe is intrinsic substance and form, or intrinsic life, or intrinsic love and wisdom. We are not intrinsic persons. It all comes from God, who is the intrinsic person, the intrinsic wisdom and love, and the intrinsic form and substance. Whatever has intrinsic existence is uncreated and infinite, while what comes from it, possessing nothing within itself that has an intrinsic existence, it is created and finite. The later presents an image of the one from whom it derives its existence and manifestation. Created infinite things may be said to have reality, manifestation, substance, and form, life, even love and wisdom, but all of these are created finite. The reason we can say that they have these attributes is not that they possess any divinity, but that they are in divinity and there is divinity in them. Anything that has been created is intrinsically without soul and dead, but it is given a soul and brought to life by the presence of divinity in it, and by its dwelling in divinity. The divine nature is not different in one subject than it is in another. Rather, one created subject is different from another. There are no two alike. No, each vessel is different. This is why the divine nature seems to differ in appearance. I will be talking later about its presence in opposites. Everything in the created universe is a vessel for the divine love and wisdom of the divine human one. We acknowledge that everything in the universe, great and small, has been created by God. This is why the universe and absolutely everything in it is called the work of Jehovah's hands in the Word, or the Bible. People do say that the whole world was created out of nothing. and they like to think of nothing as absolutely nothing. However, nothing comes from absolutely nothing, and nothing can. This is the abiding truth. This means that the universe, being an image of God and therefore full of God, could be created by God only in God. God is reality itself, and everything that exists must come from that reality. To speak of creating something that exists from a nothing that does not exist is a plain contradiction of terms. Still, what is created by God in God is not a continuation of Him. Since God is intrinsic reality, there is no trace of intrinsic reality in anything created. If there were any intrinsic reality in a created being, it would be a continuation of God, and any continuation of God is God. The angelic concept involved in that anything created by God in God is like something within ourselves that we have put forth from our life. But the life is then withdrawn from it. It then agrees with our life, but still is not our life. In support of this, angels cite many things that happen in their heaven. When they say they are in God and that God is in them, and yet they have in their being no trace of God that is actually God, this may serve simply as information. More of the angel's evidence will be offered later. Everything created from the source is in its own nature suited to be receptive of God, not by continuity, but by contract. Union comes through contract, not through continuity. What is created is suitable for this contact because it has been created by God in God. Because it has been created in this way, it is an analog. Because of this union, it is like an image of God in a mirror. This is why angels are not angels in their own right, but are angels are by virtue of their union with the divine human one. And their union depends on their acceptance of what is divinely good and what is divinely true. What is divinely good and what is divinely true are God, and seem to emanate from Him, even though they are within Him. Their acceptance depends upon the way the angels apply the laws of His design, which are divine truths, to themselves, using their freedom to think and tend according to their reason, freedom given them by God as their own possession. This is what enables them to accept what is divinely good and divinely true in apparent autonomy, and this in turn is what makes possible the mutual element in their love, for as already noted, love is not real unless it is mutual. It is the same with us here on earth. And I'm going to stop right there. That's a lot to chew on, I know, and even for me. So I don't want to overwhelm you with too much, going on in this reading, because it's so heavy, and but I asked the question of the Lord, what is love? What does it mean to love your neighbor? And these last 2 years, I've been finding out more and more that by loving others and then seeing how they respond to me, is actually, loving them and doing what the Lord, wants us to do, caring for their welfare, that sort of thing, and being concerned for them and getting outside of myself, love, if you will, and loving others, and then getting that in return. That's, and then knowing that all comes from God. That's pretty cool, So anyway, you guys have a great Tuesday. I'll talk to you later. Love you guys. Bye. That means I love you in sign language. It's a little symbol. ILY put together means I love you. All right, just in case you forgot. Bye.